Welcome to the DTB podcast presented by Bless Your Heart Nonprofit Corporation. I'm Jeray Jaro, Director of Bless Your Heart, and filling in for our regular host, Brennan Mathern, as we speak to the most interesting people up and down Bayou Lafourche. October is Infant Loss Awareness Month, and we know that many of our listeners have in some way been affected by infant loss. Today we are sitting with Heather Babin-Benoit, founder of Moms of Hope of the Bayou region, a local nonprofit who assists families who've suffered miscarriages, stillbirths, or infant loss. Heather was inspired to create this organization after the loss of her sweet daughter, Millie Raylynn Benoit, on October 27, 2017. We are so excited to have Heather here with us today. And Heather, we start off kind of every podcast with, who's your mama and them? Where are you from?
Hi, everyone. So I am Heather. I am from Thibodaux, born and raised. My mom is Bessie Babin. She is known for Miss Bank because she worked at Capital One since she was 18 years old. And my dad is Keith Babin, and he's also from Houma. So I kind of have a mix of, different sides of the Bayou because I have family in Houma and family in Thibodaux. But born and raised in Thibodaux, I have one sister, and I have 4 beautiful children, 3 living and 1 in heaven, and married to my high school sweetheart.
So Heather, tell us about Moms of Hope in the Bayou region. Like, why did you start it? What do y'all do?
So after losing Millie, I went into a really dark place. I started just blogging and sharing my story. I was very transparent because I'm the kind of person that letting it out helps with healing. A lot of people bottle it up and they like to suffer and try to look for different ways to keep it to themselves. But I find healthy-wise is to let it out, share your story, and to be very transparent with it. So what I did was I started sharing very often on my personal Facebook page. I had a lot of shares. I had a lot of insight from other women, even women that are in their 70s now, reached out and were like, this is so amazing. That's something that you want to get started because I suffered a stillbirth and It was never talked about.
Right.
I never got to hold my baby. So we have advanced tremendously with just how we react in the moment, especially through the hospital side, because my grandmother had a stillborn and she was never able to see her baby or hold her baby. So I was able to have all of that. So I'm very thankful that even through the loss, we still had a beautiful delivery and moment to be able to hold our daughter.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about Millie.
So Millie is our second born. She was diagnosed with Turner syndrome in July of 2017. We had an abnormal ultrasound. So I went through some blood work and I met with some fetal specialists and they confirmed Turner syndrome. She had a lot of fluid behind her neck and she also had some high drops throughout her body. So it was a very dim situation, but being the faithful person I am, I took out the Bible and started reading, praying, and I became educated. I searched Turner syndrome. I learned everything I could about it. So me and Brad sat down, my husband, and I was like, what can we do to celebrate her life? Even if this ends not the way we want it to end, I want her life to be abundantly celebrated. So we were like, you know what? Let's have a gender reveal. Let's make it positive. So for 4 weeks, I kept it a secret. I told our families and all, like, we did have some issues, but we're seeing a specialist. So I made brochures on Turner syndrome, and when we did the gender reveal, we did just a little fun fishing thing where River, my oldest, took a little fishing thing out with a pink fish, and then after I was like, hey, it's a girl. I walked around and gave everyone a brochure on Turner syndrome. So building that foundation with the family, having that support. Even if we knew something would happen, we knew everyone was educated on it. I was in a lot of Turner syndrome support groups with other moms. It was amazing. I had like 5 moms pregnant at the same time with me with Turner syndrome, like within the United States. With, there's usually 1 in every 200 births. And when we had 5 just in the States. So we really hoped and prayed that she would beat the odds because they do give a 2% odds for Turner syndrome whenever they are diagnosed in pregnancy. But she actually, when they get to about the 20-week mark, they say the odds go up. So when she got to the 20-week marks, I was like, oh, okay, this is it. Like, she's coming home. She's going to be healthy. So I finally started buying clothes. I was all excited, started getting, things for the nursery. And then at 24 weeks, I just started feeling like less movement. So I just started drinking more orange juice. I was doing jumping jacks. I was like, come on, like, and she would kick and kick and kick. So I had that reassurance. And then when I went in for my 27-week appointment with our fetal specialist, he was like, baby, I'm so sorry. She lost her battle. And it was just, life forever changed in that moment.
Absolutely. So tell me how Millie's life has created this organization that's provided so much hope to all these other moms.
And that's what I always tell people. Even though we went through the absolute hardest time of our lives, such a beautiful thing has come out of her life. I was able to connect with over 100 women in just that first year that experienced infant loss. We started doing a lot of coffee dates, Bible studies, dinner dates, and then I was like, wow, like, this is a need. Like, we need something where women could feel safe and supported and just be able to talk about their babies, talk about how they feel. Because a lot of times, you don't understand until you go through that.
Right.
It's different talking with someone that, of course, you want to, feel sympathy for it and everything with them, but you truly cannot understand what they're feeling unless you had some sort of loss in that aspect. So being able to meet with these women and form that bond, we just started with, it was about 20 of us. We started really, really meeting and, brainstorming ideas of what we could do. So we started with our Hope Box. We reached out to Thibodeau Regional first, and each mom, when they go into birth, if they suffer a stillbirth or if something happens at the NICU or early infant death, they are given a Hope Box from us, just a little token of hope with a Bible, bath bomb, some devotional support, a journal, and a bunch of just different resources on funeral homes and grief therapy, because a lot of people don't realize, like, yes, I gave birth, and soon after I gave birth, I had someone come in and ask, okay, so like, where do you want to bury your baby? And that you're not prepared for that.
Right.
And I luckily had a really close friend that came to my Dance to Fit classes that was the administrative assistant at Thibodeau Funeral Home.
Wow.
So I just called her. I'm like, what do I do? Like, do y'all have any kind of packages? So I had that resource. So then, like, after I gave birth, I was sort of thinking, I'm like, a lot of people go in and don't have nothing, don't have a mausoleum, don't have support. So we kind of in the last year went more towards that route. We've been getting a lot of more women reach out saying they need help with burial and cremation. Okay. So this past year we actually gave out about $1,000 worth of funeral arrangements to help with assistance.
Yeah. So tell me about the Hope Boxes. Like, have you ever talked to anyone who's received one?
So we actually have a girl that came. We did a little infant loss awareness photo shoot yesterday for our 5-year establishment coming up. And we had a girl that came that reached out to me about 2 years ago, but she was very, timid with everything. She was kind of wanted to get involved, but still wasn't quite ready to like navigate that grief. And I always tell it's always on your own time.
Right.
Everybody grieves differently. Everybody's going to have a different time when they're ready to truly show, how they're feeling. Well, she reached out and she wanted to come, and she was nervous, but she actually told the group, she was like, I was never a Christian before I got that Hope Box.
Wow.
But I opened my Bible and I started reading. Like we have in our Hope Box, just like little verses we recommend, like if you're feeling sad this day, read this, like just to kind of navigate. And she was like, I have a faith now. Like I never had a faith until I opened that box. She was like, I never thought opening the box and having the Bible and the support would gear me to a life with Jesus.
Yeah.
So that was like a huge
Amen.
Wow for me, because it's like, when we first started assimilating them, I'm like, faithful person, I stuck to the Bible. James was like my person that I read a lot with our pregnancy with Millie. So I was like, we have to put that in there. And then when she mentioned that, I was like, wow. So it shows the need of having those certain things in there that really do help with grieving.
Yeah. What a beautiful testimony that Millie ultimately brought at least one person to Jesus.
Absolutely.
That's so awesome. So Heather, where can these Hope Boxes be found? Like if a local mom is delivering and she may or may not suffer infant, either a stillborn or infant loss, where could she be given a Hope Box from your organization?
So our Hope Boxes are set up at Thibodeau Regional, Terrebonne General, and also at Ochsner St. Anne. But myself and my vice president keep a bunch of Hope boxes in stock because we do get requests for women that might suffer miscarriage at home or a friend that lives out of state. So we ship the Hope boxes, and what we do is if you just message us on our Moms of Hope of the Bayou Region page, we get the information from you, and we make sure the moms that are grieving get that Hope box in some shape or form.
So just to be clear, there's no cost associated with them to receive a Hope box.
So we do our fundraising is that's what we do. We do our sponsor Hope box fundraiser where anyone could sponsor a Hope box at any time for a baby. So like every year for Millie's birthday, I buy a Hope box and I put her name on the inside, like this box has been given to you in memory of Millie Raylan Benoit. So anybody could do that at any point during the year. So when we do get those reach outs, we don't want, that family member. Now sometimes they'll give a donation, but we don't ask for them to pay for that. We handle shipping and doing all of that free of cost because that's why we fundraise and do what we do.
Right. Tell me, you'll have an event coming up. Talk to me about the event.
So every year we do a Wave of Light for Infant Loss Awareness Day, which is on October 15th. But this year, since it is our 5 years of being established, we have decided to do more of a celebration of life. All the angel babies, we want to do it to where we have their names out on posters, and we want to have where we celebrate their life, singing happy birthday, and then we'll even do a little butterfly release to show that we're always thinking of them. So we are having this event on Sunday, October 15th at 5 o'clock p.m. at the Pelche Park in Thibodeau. And anybody that's been affected, an aunt, a cousin, a coworker, this is a time for us to be together among each other, just celebrating all those beautiful little angel babies that were lost.
Tell me, if somebody wants to be involved in the event and have their child's name featured, how would he or she do that?
On our Facebook page, Moms of Hope of the Bayou Region, we have a Google form where you can fill out to put all your information in for your memory poster, to sign up for the Memory Mile. Because what we're doing with those memory posters, we're going to put them in the park, and everyone's going to walk around to see all the names together. And then you even able to take that poster home after. You could put it in your yard for Infant Loss Awareness Month to continue raising awareness, because that's our biggest hope, is that people realize that these babies matter. No matter how brief they were here, a life is a life, and we need to celebrate it.
Absolutely. But you mentioned that typically y'all do Wave of Light, but in addition to that, y'all are doing a celebration of life. But talk to me about what Wave of Light is.
So Wave of Light is a national movement. It's actually global. It has a Infant Loss Awareness Day each year, October 15th, and they ask that everyone around the globe light a candle at 6 p.m. because that means for at least 1 whole hour, a light is burning for those sweet babies that shed a light for their lives.
And so at the Celebration of Life event, y'all will participate in Wave of Light?
Absolutely, yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with some guest speakers, and then 5:30 we'll do the Memory Mile, and then right at 6 o'clock we'll have a prayer, and then we'll do our candle lighting before we do our happy birthday to all the angel babies, and then the butterfly release to end the event.
How tremendous. So if anyone wants to just attend, they can attend this event?
Yep, just day of is open to the public.
Okay, and there's no cost associated with it? Okay.
Just if you want to buy your memory poster, it's $15, but you do get to keep it. And to walk the Memory Mile is $10. But kids are free, and we will have jambalaya being cooked, and we'll have some drinks, and we'll just have, prayer, resources. We even have some pregnancy resource centers coming out. We have Ochsner coming to give some labor and delivery little advice, just little resources for the community as well.
Awesome. So Heather, if someone wants to get in contact with your organization, where can they find you? Who do they need to reach out to? What are the details?
So we have a message button on our Moms of Hope of the Bayou Region Facebook page. We do also have a Gmail account, and it's Moms of Hope of the Bayou Region @gmail.com.
Wonderful. I want to thank you so much for coming and meet with us today, and I just want you to know what you're doing, for in no compensation in any way, has really changed the lives of people that I know personally, and thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I do want to say to everyone, even in those hard times I still have days where I'm just all over the place because, grief is something that comes in waves. Happiness and sadness can coexist. You could be
Amen.
So sad, but you are allowed to be joyful. Like, don't feel that just because you had a hard time come or you went through a imaginable loss, you could still be happy.
Right.
Like, I look at my living children and it shows me right there, like, God's grace.
Amen.
Like, without him, how would have I moved forward? So you just have to have that faith, and you have to lean on God in those times, because without him, life wouldn't be what it was.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yes, I appreciate y'all taking the time.
So, Heather, at the end of every show, we have a round of rapid-fire questions related to life on the Bayou. You can give us a one-word answer or expand on your answer if you feel like you need to explain. So it's up to you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Ready.
So, white beans, do they go on top of the jambalaya or on the side?
On top. I like them both ways, but less dishes to wash. On top.
That only tells me that you are from Thibodeau. If you can have a final meal, what would it be, and who would have cooked it?
Whew.
You better say Brad.
Yeah.
Your husband.
Yeah. I got even props. He does cook good. It'd probably be one of his soups. He does a great vegetable soup. I'm such a soup, especially with a cool friend coming in. I'm like, yes, because I'm such a soup person. Probably, sadly, it would probably be a soup because I just love I could eat vegetable soup every day. That's one of my favorite meals.
Awesome.
So I have to say a soup.
What is your favorite flavor snowball?
Ooh, wedding cake with condensed milk.
From where?
Actually, it's a little mobile. It's the Colonel's Shaved Ice. It's her name's Miss Tanya. Her and her son's special needs, and they started it together as a project for him to have a little work ethic to do.
Yeah.
And their ice is amazing.
Wow.
Sometimes I just go get their ice.
Just the ice.
They do a lot of events, but they actually set up this summer in Chack Bay. So
wow.
with us being in Chack Bay, I was like, okay. So
yeah,
it was nice to have them there because Chack Bay doesn't have much. But besides Dollar General, it's kind of how y'all are that way. This way.
You only saying that because you haven't had a Missy Lane snowball.
No, I haven't.
Just saying.
Nope. I've had, yeah.
Jar roux, sometimes or never?
What's jar roux?
Like roux that comes in a jar?
Oh, no, never.
Never?
No.
Not even with 3 kids? No?
No, Brad cooks it, so. I don't cook, I clean.
So when you are at a Down the Bayou wedding reception, what is the first song that comes to your mind that you know you will hear? Come on.
We're going to do that butt thing. That's what's always.
It's a staple.
Yes.
It's a staple.
Yes. That's the first thing that popped to my mind. Even dances. I came to some dances with friends growing up.
Yeah.
And that was,
a guarantee.
Yeah.
Guarantee.
But that's it.
Okay, well, that'll do it for this episode of the DTB podcast. Thanks to our guest, Heather Babin-Benoit. We sincerely appreciate your time. You can subscribe to the DTB podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at the DTB Podcast. You can also follow Bless Your Heart Nonprofit on Facebook or on Twitter at BYH Nonprofit. You can also donate to Bless Your Heart on Venmo at Bless Your Heart Nonprofit or on PayPal at blessyourheartnonprofit@gmail.com. That'll wrap it up for us on the DTB Podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for our next episode. Until then, this is Jeray Jean Bonjaro. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.